there's a reason why the Old Testament affirms the death penalty over and over and over again.
Right.
Because as hard as it is for us to accept it in our modern thinking, at least for some of us, the reality is some injustices deserve death. That's just the reality, right? So as you've said, if somebody is coming into my home to harm my family, right, I have a right to defend them by killing that person. You know, if it's somebody else on the street harming somebody else too, it is my duty as a loving neighbor to protect them that way. And if it's necessary for me to end that person's life, right? And that is not hate. That is not injustice. That is love. That is a biblical, that's what love looks like in that case. But we have this weird view in our culture. So if Israel has the right to defend itself, if America has the right to defend itself, then why doesn't a husband or a mom, right, have the right to defend themselves too? It is a strange thinking that we have in our society. The reason why nations have military, the reason why they have weapons is because they know that in a sinful world, they may not understand it theologically the way that the Bible clearly states it, but they know there are evil people in the world who will always want to harm others. Therefore, they need the ability, they need the weapons to defend themselves or defend others. We know this, but when it comes to us as individuals, we have this, again, pampered way of thinking that it would never happen to us, or that if it happens to us, that we will, we'll find some other way to protect others
right.
without having to use deadly force. And that's just not reality. It really isn't. And just to add to that too, about the liberal argument, one of the things that I find really interesting is that liberals or leftists keep claiming that Black Americans are being oppressed by the government. Well, if the government is trying to oppress me, why do I want them to take away my guns? That seems like a very bad idea. It makes absolutely no sense. If women are being oppressed in society, more than any group, shouldn't they have the right to have the great equalizer in having weapons to then be able to stop men from harming them?
Yep.
And one more thing, I think, since I'm from Canada, I'm convinced one of the reasons why Canada is significantly more authoritarian is one, because we don't have a Second Amendment in Canada. We have no rights. That's why Trudeau right now is banning every gun. The Canadian government does not fear the people. Mm-hmm. In the U.S., there is a healthy fear that if we do this, it might not go well for us because citizens have weapons. Where in Canada, the vast majority of people do not have weapons or do not have the right to have weapons. And because of that, the government is increasingly becoming more totalitarian. So, for example, the Freedom Convoy, that was really the first mass protest we had in Canada. And the reason why they were able to shut it down quickly is because, well, they have the weapons. Mm-hmm. The citizens do not, and they do not fear the consequences. I'm not suggesting that the citizens should try to overthrow the government. I'm not saying that. But the reality is they don't fear the people because the people do not have weapons.